Hey all, it's your boy, back at it again with the void talking. Yeah, I'm never doing that again. Viewers over here, how are you all doing? Doing good? Good. Glad you're doing good. Me? I've been better. Because today I spent my day watching Z-grade slasher films. Well, at least there's some plus side to this. So, I'm going to be talking about first, A Brush with Death on Blu-ray. Now, I've got this partitioning off the other half of here, which I'll be talking about in my next video. It's not much better. But first off, I will like to say, at least, since there's two movies on this collection, and I paid $1 for it, 50 cents a movie, okay. It's worth about the 50 cents, I guess. I mean, from what I can tell, that was about the movie's budget, so hey, it made its money back. Okay. 2006, A Brush with Death. There's a lot, and yet nothing to talk about for this one. But I'll try anyway. So, group of college girls are heading out to the countryside to take a vacation. They're cheerleaders, I guess. The movie tells us this. They don't do any cheerleading. They just happen to mention it offhand. Anyway, they want to go out to the countryside. So, they do. And as they're driving out, their car breaks down in what has to be one of the most poorly done things for that. They just drive wrong. The main girl kind of looks like, oh, there's a quick cut, like a split second, and then, oh, nope, it's, my car's broken down. This movie was bad. Anyway, see, the initial problems I'm having with this movie is it's like two movie concepts collided and then kind of got stuck together. Now, primarily this movie is about them reaching the farmhouse, and there's an abandoned house not too far away, and they're talking about going and spending the night in this house where some murders took place many years ago. So they want to do that for kicks, and having announced this, some of them start disappearing, particularly when they get close to the house. Pretty standard slasher film. Sure, fine. But it's doing something else for a moment. Now, while we are broken down on the road, a gas station attendant comes up with his mentally handicapped son. No, not son. Mentally handicapped employee. At first, I thought they were related. They weren't. My mistake. So, they come up, and the mentally challenged son is quite nice and is helping gas them up, while the other guy just sexually harasses them verbally for quite a bit. Now, at this point, the movie starts cutting away to those two pretty much killing a guy and dragging a woman into the back and sexually harassing, assaulting her, and then essentially killing her. And then cuts back to what we're doing, and our main characters just drive off just fine. And while Caleb, the mentally challenged boy, comes back into it later, the murdery molesty gas station attendant barely does. He factors in one more little element. But otherwise, his stuff is completely unresolved. His murder? They never talk about it again. The fact that he was a molesting scumbag doesn't come up. No, the other characters don't see him until they find his corpse later. because I guess later he starts trying to follow them and gets killed by our real antagonist for the evening. So he could have been cut entirely from the film, and we would have lost nothing, except for some pointless molestation shots, which don't go anywhere. So, in between all of this, we keep cutting back to the 50s and flashbacks with what is it with the murder house. And we keep cutting these two boys that are, I don't know, 7 and 8, somewhere around there. The older brother is an obnoxious little bastard, and the younger one is just nervously kowtowing to him. The older one has this almost concerning obsession with being loved by his brother. Keeps doing a lot of shouting, "You love me, don't you? You love me better than anyone, right? You gotta prove that." We cut back to these two a couple times throughout it, and it's almost always a rehash of the same. He makes his younger brother do something terrible in order to prove his love, that he loves him best. It's creepy, and not in a good horror movie kind of way. It's uncomfortable. Obviously, that's setting up one of these two as our killer for the evening. But God, those kid actors are terrible. They're chewing the scenery, but not in an entertaining way. So, our girls, while hanging out at their place, they meet another guy who starts hanging around. And it starts playing the guessing game of who's the killer. Is it this guy who just came up? Is it the mentally handicapped kid? Is it... who is... But at the same time, it keeps alerting to the stuff in the past, and that was the 50s, and this is the 2000s, so that's a long time ago. So if you keep that in mind, you realize that it can't be any of that. What is this stupid? Well, I won't go into spoilers on this movie. It's not worth it. If you really want to know who the killer is, see it for yourself. I'm not going to do it for you. I suffered through this. You can too. But one thing I should cover. Why is it called A Brush with Death? There's a reason. You don't really get around to it the last like 10 minutes of the film. But there actually is a reason why it's called that. Because apparently the killer uses the blood of his victims to paint portraits of them. Apparently this movie did have an original title as Needles, which makes even less sense. I mean, I guess that'd be the needle he injected into them to withdraw the blood, because he has them like on this little, like a chair with a IV in them. I will say the blood portraits were a creepy, nice touch. Those actually looked cool. That's the only salvageable thing in this film. Soundtrack, I guess, was okay. If I want to be nice and say something nice. But otherwise, A Brush with Death, one MacGuffin. No. Pass. Skip. Not worth it.